Let's
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
You're starting?
Yep.
Okay. I like how you just like you need to be like more official, man. You're like you got to be like take one or something like that.
Action.
I'm just kidding. Action. Okay, welcome to episode.
You.
Hey, don't cut me off. I'm trying to do my introduction here. Serious business. Okay. Welcome to episode 11 of Audio Discourse podcast. Today we are doing another two-parter, and we are doing our episode on portable source. I think the first part, the gang and I are just going to talk about what our approach to portable source is. I think all of us are a little bit different in terms of like picking our source and whatever what we like. And I think the second part is more to more of a recommendation, like what we have are an IEM recommendation. So why don't I start with the first part? Just what we have, what our approach is, and like what we think is good. And with me here today is our usual gang, Ant-Man. I think for doing a little bit different. So we have Ant-Man with us. Why don't you just tell us what you have right now, and why do you have it? Your portable source.
My portable source? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my main digital audio player DAP is the Sony NW-ZX507. The main reason I have that is because it's small, lightweight, runs Android, so I can stream Spotify and Qobuz as well as play my offline music. And yeah, that's pretty much the main reasons I have it. My other portable source would be my Samsung Galaxy S10 phone.
Right. Why don't we go to Ken? What do you have right now, and why do you have it?
Yeah, I have a Onkyo DP-CMX1. I bought it as a phone before I met the guys and joined the community. So it works as a phone at the time and as an audio player. That's why I bought it, and it's still good. I like the sound, and I'm still using it to today.
All right, and Corn.
Hi. I bought the Shuning M5S. It is what I use every day. Well, not now every day due to the situation, but I bought it because of the size. It is very small and has a very nice feeling in the hand, and unlike what Android thinks, I don't actually want like Android on my DAP.
Right. So I think, and just for the on the record, I have a Con Cube right now, and I like to. It's about £1 worth of that, and I do carry it with me everywhere. And the reason I had it because I feel like it's just pretty much the next step in a chain, and I think I like to give my co-host a lot of shit on their quotation mark mid-fi dApps, but I think it's just difference in our approach and why. Like, I don't think anybody's wrong, and just you buy whatever you like, right? So why don't I start out with the Android thing? I think a lot of Anthony, obviously you like the ZX507 because it runs on Android, and none of our no. Ken actually has a phone DAP, which is the Onkyo Grand Beat. So his obviously runs on Android as well. Streaming in DAPs. Let's say you don't have a phone, right? Let's say it's not a phone DAP. Does Android really matters that much, Anthony, to you?
Yeah, it does. Primarily, there's a few reasons for me. One, I stream music, so I do have a lot of music. I have probably like, I don't know, 200 gigs of offline files, but there's always new music and new discovery that I want to do. And so that's having Spotify and Qobuz available makes that easier for me to do on the go. Also, the other thing is being like a reviewer. A lot of people ask me, hey, what does this sound like with this song? So if I don't have that song available, it's easier for me to just go look it up on Spotify and just listen to it. And then the other reason is I like to customize my device a lot. So a lot of the UIs that are on some of these devices I don't really care for, or maybe I don't care about the player as much. The Sony one I actually do like the player, but at least I'm able to change like shortcuts or the launcher or the background or whatever to how I like it. So those are like kind of the main things, just being able to customize your layout and UI.
Now, when it comes to streaming, doesn't it kind of? So, I mean, most people that disagree with me if you think I'm wrong, and I'm never wrong. Most people that if you want to buy a DAP, and that the question is for anybody to disagree with me. If you want to buy a DAP, you're pretty serious about this like portable audio thing, right? And doesn't like streaming music defeat the purpose of having a dedicated DAP? It just like you buy a DAP for like good sound quality, but doesn't like streaming the music over like Spotify or whatever kind of really defeats the purpose of having like a high fidelity music player?
Not necessarily. I mean, Spotify for sure. Spotify plays at roughly, at best, 320 kilobits per second bit rate. So yeah, you're going to see a small degradation there. Most people probably won't be able to hear that difference between like highest quality Spotify and like a FLAC player or a FLAC file, but there are times when you can obviously hear the difference. And for me, like going to Tidal and Qobuz, you can definitely hear a difference because they are playing higher streaming quality, and those in some cases are playing higher quality, like 24-bit 192 versus my FLACs, which are 44 44.1 what is it off the top of my head? Can't think off the top of my head what the file format is, but so in some cases streaming actually gives you higher quality. Now that saying, Android does have some limitations that they actually downsample music to their preferred streaming rate, so that that could be an issue with some players and cell phones, for example. But a lot of these dedicated players like the Hi-B or the Fio or now the new Sony, they just released a firmware where it actually plays it at the normal rate it's supposed to be at, or actually upsamples it.
All right, and Ken, and obviously you're the other person with the Android DAP here, DAP quotation mark, phone DAP, Grand Beat. Do you stream? You don't stream music on there, right? I mean, it's...
No, I don't. As in, like, well, I have Spotify there just in case when someone wants me to like, hey, check this song out, and like I don't have the CD, I don't have the RIP, and yeah, I just have to check out that song. But like, no more than 3 songs a year maybe. So I don't listen to Spotify on my OnCure. I have the CDs, and some, yeah, I can tell the difference. Some maybe not, but well, I have the CD, so why do I care about Spotify, right? And if I don't bring my player out, I can use Spotify on another phone. This doesn't really matter because it's lossless anyway. Yeah, so streaming is not a big deal for me. On a dedicated player, is what is important is the sound quality, and mine just happens to be Android. File transfer is something easy, I guess, because it's an Android device. I can Bluetooth a song over to my friend or whatsoever when we just want to like check out this track. Other than that, I don't care much about streaming, and the Android resampling doesn't bother me because the end result is the sound quality. If the sound quality is good, it doesn't matter whether it's Android or not. Yeah.
Right. I feel like a lot of like what I hear from Android is just the ease of use, and a lot of people do have an Android phone, Funny enough that Ken, you don't have an Android phone. You mostly use Apple.
No. I use iPad Pro, but my phones and other tablets are all Android.
I don't know how you cross platform like that. Just kind of weird. But I mean, a lot of people have an Android phone, and they're very used to UI whatever. And going from an Android phone into an Android app, you don't really have like there's no like learning curve there. You just like pick it up like like you're using your phone, and it's very easy. And I think a lot of the Android app it's attractive to the consumer is because the ease of use and just lack of hassle with streaming and whatnot. But at the same time, I know you have like offline Spotify or whatever, what have you. I feel like when you have like, but most of the time that you need to like tether it with your phone, right? Run a hotspot on your phone, and then so you can have Wi-Fi on your app, and you're listening to Spotify, and you're draining the battery on your phone and your DAB. I feel like it's kind of like defeats the purpose of a DAB because you're supposed to have a DAB that gives you a high quality music, but you don't lose that from streaming, and you also have a separate device for music so you don't drain the battery on your phone. But then you tether it with your phone, then you kind of drain the battery on both, which kind of like kind of really defeats the purpose of a DAB, right?
That's kind of usage dependent. Like in my case, I actually have Wi-Fi at work that I use, and there's no issues there. And then at home, obviously.
Oh yeah. But when you're on the go, that's what I'm saying. Like when you're like on a train or whatever, on a plane or whatever, in the airport. I don't know.
Yeah. Then I use my phone.
Yeah, like I mean, shouldn't you just use your phone with a dongle? Like, isn't that just like so much easier? Like you just, I mean,
if I'm on the go, typically I don't care about sound quality, so I'm using my Galaxy Buds with my phone. That's my combo.
There you go. That's why you're a lo-fi piece of shit. But whatever. That's just my opinion, right?
Yeah, because like I'm the one with an Android player that has 2 SIM card slots. So I don't. If I actually stream on that long queue, I don't have that issue.
Mm-hmm.
But when I bought it, I tried and like, hey, I'm happy with my CD stuff. I have the CD, so I rip them and it sounds better than Spotify. I'm like, okay, so there's no reason for me to use Spotify. So it was more of that. Yeah, but the battery draining thing can be an issue if you're tethering, but it really depends on the use case. Like, do you use a lot on the go? If you use streaming on the go, then you should be using your phone to stream. That's like what ended, right? If he uses Galaxy Buds.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm the only person that's doing this Portify thing correctly, and you guys are just compromising with your half-ass.
Technically, your Con Cube is Android based too.
It is, yes, and it also does streaming. But I just don't use any of that feature.
I don't stream on my video, right? So.
Right, but like I always have my file locally.
Me too. For
just part. Move on. Yeah, I think move on from that. And Cohen hasn't talked to a while, and I think Cohen will agree with me. But you have a Shamley, right?
Yeah, for me, I just use Spotify to discover music. But when I'm out and about, I do have mostly like 99% of my files are in FLAC, so I listen to FLAC on the go. But when I'm at home, when I'm in the mood to discover music, I use Spotify. And if I like the music, I'll just find a like a FLAC version of it and then put it on both computer and on the phone. So sometimes it's the peace of mind as well to have a FLAC file where you know that okay, this MP3 doesn't have any form of compromise or whatever. So having FLAC is sometimes psychological as well for me.
Right. I feel like, again, like when I'm discovering music, I don't really mind playing it out of the speaker, out of my TV, which is awful, by the way. Which is kind of like a reverse because people at their home, at home, people's setup is better. My portable setup is way better than my home setup, which is I guess just the speaker out of my TV. So like when I'm discovering music, I don't care. I'm just playing something, like see if I like the music or not. And I'm not gonna say I'll probably like it better if it's in FLAC and with my $4,000 setup. No, that's not gonna. If I like a music, then I like a music, right? And it's not gonna change my mind if I hear that treble extension or whatever. And when I am trying to seriously listen to music, then I'll just use my portable setup. Because that's my most high fidelity setup. I guess that's my approach to it. But going back into this and just why don't we talk about maybe and I guess Ken doesn't really because Ken the Granby is the only DAP that you had, right? You didn't really have anything previously, right?
Well, I mean, I just use my iPads and my phones before for that, and I bought the ES100 after the Onkyo as to use with my iPad, but it died. So yeah.
That was your Bluetooth thingy, right?
Yeah, it's Bluetooth. I use it as an USB deck with my iPad Pro.
Right. So obviously you don't really care too much about the source gear, do you?
I do, but as in, I think it matters. I mean, I have background with
but not that much.
Well, it depends on the device, right? So, like, if I have lousy earphones, then it doesn't really matter. Like, to have a $5,000 source, But if our transducers are good enough, yeah, sure. I mean, better source do make a difference. They do have a different presentation, typically. So that will affect things. I mean, I can tell the difference between my mobile phone and my Onkyo. Pretty obvious. Well, then again, there's output impedance, which we can discuss later.
And you're just doing it for your own enjoyment. So like I think it's like whatever you're happy with, it's fine. But I think for Korn, which is a little bit different because he's gotten some heat for this. You had a God damn it! You have a shamling. You have a shamling. Shame as in shame. Okay.
My player is technically twice the price of his.
Technically, but your player is really old. Granby is really old. And I gave him shit when I did his 1-on-1. People don't take you seriously because you have a mid-fight DAP. Again, like I'm not gonna say they're right or wrong. Okay, just peace of mind for people.
My Onkyo is a flagship for whatever.
Well, yeah, but like it's like 8 years ago, dude. Come on, man.
No, the thing is not 8 years ago. Come on.
Yeah, that is old. That is so old. That's as old as you.
It's like 4 years old.
No, it's pretty old, dude. Like, but like that's in like DAP year, and the DAP year is like 20 years old. So for Korn and Anthony, maybe a little bit different, because they're like reviewers and they need to like say, "Oh, I listened it to with this," which Korn doesn't. Now the cat's out of the bag. Like, do you care about source, Korn?
Like yes, I source. Do. Oh, portable source. To an extent, which is why I only have a M5S. I don't really want to go like further up than that. Because I do believe that for me a desktop source is more important than say a portable source.
Yeah, but you're a portable file reviewer. You don't like you don't plug your. That's silly. I feel like that's silly. Like you're not a headphone reviewer. Like if you're a headphone reviewer, of course you have a desktop setup. That's natural, right? But if you're reviewing IEMs, like you have to use a portable source, right?
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, I do believe that a lot of the reviewing comes from trying out different transducers, and to me, a source doesn't affect it like that much to the point where I would change my mind over a transducer that I'm reviewing or talking about. So it is not super important to me, but for me, it's more of a portable, a form factor kind of standpoint, like a convenience kind of take to it, rather than say sound quality. Like for me personally, I'll put battery, size factor, over sound quality. But it's not to say that I don't value sound quality, just that it is not such a huge concern with a portable source, because I do believe that most sources sound okay. It's just that some sound like crap because of, let's say, high noise floors or very high impedances, output impedance screwing up sound signatures of multi-driver systems in earphones.
So you don't believe in like
some mobile phones are really terrible.
right, but like well, nobody has a 3.5mm jack on their phone anymore, right? I mean, everybody use that's like dead and long gone, man. Come on. So no, everybody use some kind of dongle or whatever, be it like the Apple one or whatever, the Meizu, whatever.
My phones have 3.5mm.
Well, you know what? Whatever. Your phone
too.
also has a 2.5. You know what? Whatever. Yeah, I'm supposed to prove a point here, but like most people don't have a 3.5mm jack on their phone anymore, so they got to use a dongle or whatever, which is kind of nice. I don't know. I don't care for it. But Corn, go back to you and shitting on your views. Like, what do you say to the people that like say, "Oh, so you don't believe in the pairing thing"? No.
To an extent, it's more of a let's say 95% there, and you want that last 5%. But to me, I listen to a lot of earphones, so I just need something that there's low impedance enough to drive most headphones the way they should sound.
Okay. And going into this like reviewer thing into Anthony, on your review, like do you usually test your IEMs with your DAP, right?
I do.
Pretty. Oh wait, it's Anthony. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can pretend to be me if you want. You're better. So yes, I do a combination of for IEMs. I do a combination of DAPs, phone, and desktop amp.
And do you believe in this pairing thing? Like, I mean, I have tried 507, and I like to give you shit for your mid-fi DAPs a lot. I'm honestly not happy with the 507, but that's the topic for the next 5 minutes. And again, but people doesn't like really give you that much crap for it.
That's it's really good.
No, it isn't. It's
so
like
I think it's better than Con's trending.
Oh yeah. Like the Tri-Fi DAP is like no, I don't.
Damn it.
It's not bad. I think the 507 is good.
I think it's
and here's a I mean like right now it's new. Yeah, I think it's new, but I think the pairing thing is more for you because I think the 507 is a little bit more colored. Again, I hate to use the word. The 507 have its own signature. I think sometimes, I mean, if you like that signature, it's good for you, right? But I think I wouldn't call the 507 neutral like the 1A, but it's definitely more neutral than the ZX300. I don't know if you have heard that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Way more.
Yeah.
Way more neutral.
Way more neutral than but it's not as neutral like the 1A. So like, and that's like going to for the two reviewers that's here. Shouldn't you guys have a more neutral DAP?
I do.
When you're no, you don't.
Well, not DAP per se, but I have the iPhone dongle.
Nobody cares about that topic for a later segment.
It's probably the most popular used DAP or IEM source.
Yeah, and it's lo-fi as fuck. I don't know why you know. Again, the 507. Shouldn't you have like something more neutral?
Yeah, if I need neutral, I'll use my desktop amps, or I use my iPhone dongle.
You have a tube amp.
Yeah, but my tube amp can be switched off to solid state.
But yeah, but the portable review is like you can't say like, oh, I used my desktop setup for my IE. That's just silly.
So first thing is you can't have every source out there, so that's impossible.
So but somebody does. Shout out to my favorite reviewer.
Yeah. So you can't have everything that everyone owns. That's impossible. You have to just basically play on what you have, and you are so iPhone dongle. A ton of people have access to that. It's only $6, so it's super cheap, and anyone can own it pretty easily. So that's an easy one that you can compare to. I think, from my experience, every DAP has some sort of sound signature to its own. And I know there's people out there who don't believe DACs and amps have sounds if they measure, over a certain level. But in my experience, I've seen like the let's say like Astel and Kern DAPs that I've tried. I haven't tried the Cube yet, at least not long enough to give me any memory, but they have heavily colored sound. Like,
Oh yeah.
like
Most 8K DAPs
yeah,
sounds.
they're probably
Not
more
neutral.
colored than the ZX300.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then like the high B DAPs also have kind of a warmer. Most of the DAPs actually I've tried have a kind of a warmer sound than neutral. The Sony that I have now, the high B, the AKs, they all have very mid-range focus, maybe lower mid-range focus sound to them. Then there's like the iBasos, which are actually pretty neutral sounding, which I owned, and I went through phases where I went for like as much objectivity, as much neutral sound as possible, and that's including like owning the THX amps for desktop and then the iBaso DX160, which is fairly neutral. It extends really well, both low end and high end, but they just don't. For me, they having that, I don't know. It just doesn't make music as fun to listen to as something that's slightly more colored. So, at the end of the day, I kind of have to pick my musical preference over total objectivity, but still having that available in, like, say, the iPhone dongle, just for review purposes.
Okay, and that's fair, and I think that's a good point that you brought up. Because you love talking about the Apple dongle. Dude, I have one, and because everybody does, right? I don't think anybody who everybody has a dongle here, right? Like, I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
And-
It sounds better than, like, the high
version for
BR5.
my iPad Pro.
And I think, and Ken brought up a good point that it actually doesn't sound all that bad. And it sounds a lot better than a lot of the $300 DAPs out there. And
Maybe even $500.
Yeah.
yeah. So, is there really a point? Again, that's my thing when it comes to like mid-fi DAPs, right? Is there really a point to get a mid-fi DAP if a dongle just sounds arguably comparably okay compared to maybe a $300 or maybe a $500 DAP?
What I
Well-
observe. Well, can't go first.
For me, it's also about separating my battery life from the phone to the tab.
Oh yeah, but when you're testing stuff.
And yeah, and maybe Ken can chime in on that.
Yeah, because what I notice is most people I met quite a few people. I go to audio meets. I observe and I ask questions. A lot of people when they buy players or source that are like mid-5, so to speak, they're looking for colored sound. They actually are not looking for neutral, because like after Apple dongle, there's nothing really good like objectively measurements and etc. and neutral until DX160. So anything in between, when most people buy, they just like the color. They like they buy Hebe for warm, like what and say, and if they're looking for neutral sources. They're pretty, after DX160, it's WM1A and DX 220 now. Yeah.
But I mean, buying a mid-fi DAP for the sake of sound signature, couldn't you just technically EQ your preference in sound signature? Like,
I would say find the the transducers that matches
Right.
your sound preference the most with the dongle first. But of course, I met a few people. They have few $1,000 earphones. They have 10, 20 earphones. They have cheap or expensive earphones, and it's a mix, and some of them they don't have better earphones that they like more to buy, and then they spend on sources. It's like, okay, that's okay. But if someone is spending $500 on a source, and then $500 on a pair of transducers, where the same result can be achieved with $1,000 transducers, then I think I would recommend taking the transducers and the Apple dongle, and because he can get better source next time.
Right. I think it's more. I think all of us can agree that the portable source is more like an afterthought. I think all of us can agree that it's better to have a more expensive IEM and just play it out of your Apple dongle versus splitting the money between a DAP and an IEM. If you're on a budget.
Yeah. It's because the lower end players are really not good.
Yeah, totally agree.
They're not good, Like you say my player is old, right? But I don't find any players under $500 that is even close to my player. The only one that I found was good was the X160, But then again, it's a different sound signature. But yes, I can agree the X160 is good.
It has issues though.
Yeah, it has other issues with.
Has a lot of bugs.
It's functional. I'm just talking about sound quality wise.
Yeah.
160 is not bad, but that's not my sound signature, and I don't see the reason to get that. Like I rather use Apple dongle, but I don't.
Okay.
I like my own cue.
The other thing that hasn't been discussed is like some people, not everyone only uses IEMs on the go. Like if I go to work, I have headphones at work, and sometimes a phone or iPhone dongle isn't enough power, I guess, to power some of the headphones that I have. So having a portable DAP that has a little bit more power helps in that case as well.
Okay. And I think that's fair, but like at the same time, I don't think anybody carries their headphone to work. That's just kind of silly.
You'd be surprised, at least where I work, everyone has headphones on all the time.
Yeah, but
I mean,
if you have headphones in office, you can have a desktop amp in office. So
right, exactly.
It depends. I have very limited desktop space where I work.
I'm sorry, you guys don't have a corner office like I do. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, but at the same time, a lot of the mid-range portable source, like the DAPs, don't really have that powerful of an amplifier, which, kind of I feel like is a half-assed solution. I feel like the DAP thing, like if you want to go, you gotta go in like balls deep, man. Like it's like none of that $500 mid-fi shit. You just gotta like, drop the big money if you can. Again, like if you can't, just live with the dongle, man. I mean that's my opinion of it. And I like how you guys brought up the sound signature thing. Is like maybe you have a preference.
Oh, the other thing I can't stand. Sorry, I have another thing I don't like about the iPhone dongle is you're pairing it typically with your phone. Then when you get a phone call or a text message or some sort of notification, it interrupts your music. So that's annoying as heck. So if I'm trying to listen to a song and I'm being interrupted every 10 seconds with an email notification, it's annoying. And I also need to use it for work, so I can't just disable notifications.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's when you get a work phone, but then again, that kind of defeats the purpose of having a dongle, doesn't it? Huh? Yep. Then you're technically having two devices on your person. But I mean, yeah, and why don't we go into the little sound signature talk?
Yeah, I would like to add and was saying about like a deck neutral and the players changing the sound and stuff. I would like to add that most most sound signature is on the implementation, and it's a lot with the output impedance and the amplifier stage. Typically on the DAC stage, their role is to have a pretty flat frequency response. So most of the changes are from the implementation and amplifier rather than the DAC.
Well, yeah.
But players are two in one, right? So
right. So you
because
can't really like, you know, have a DAP and then I mean you could have a portable amp with your DAC, but I don't think anybody is at that point yet. Like not none of us is at. I'm close to it, but just it's like, you know, you're buying a DAP for the entire package. Like the sound signature is what you buy is what you get. That's what I'm getting at. Right?
typically that should be
Most people, 95% of the
yeah.
case. Yeah. And tell me that I'm wrong, and I'm never wrong, as I said. Isn't it just better to buy a neutral DAP, which I am I'm big on, and just buy the sound signature that you want on your transducers?
Yeah, like I said, right? I rather people use an Apple dongle first, find the transducers that they like, but maybe it's lacking something. Okay, sure, you know, like you are 90% there, and then you find a player to pair with or whatever, you know. But if you have a very colored player to start with, you are when you test transducers, you don't get correct what do you call that view of the transducers. Like example, there's just some transducers you just work very poorly with certain because of output impedance in the case of HEBR6, but in the case of Lotto LPG, it just pairs very poorly with 90% of the electrostats earphones out there. I have no idea why, but they don't sound good most of the time with any electrostat earphones.
Right, and then going into like maybe the reviewer perspective, Corn, and the M5S is pretty neutral. I don't, again, I haven't spent too much time with it. Is that and obviously you use that to test most of your IEMs when you do your impressions. Do you, again, like, do you find the source matching thing a big issue for you? Obviously you don't. Is that why that you have a neutral DAP or why? Like what's your thought on just, you know, the coloration on the DAP and, you know, how it pairs well with you know, transducers? Like what's your view on it?
For me, it also comes down to the output impedance where, I mean, when I choose my depths, I always pick something that has a very low output impedance, like preferably under 0.5 ohms. So it wouldn't have introduced any kind of deviation from the, in a sense, the intended frequency response of the IEM. But yeah, I'll agree that having a depth that you like is more important than, it is more important than, how I put it, like it can be a baseline for what you're comparing it against.
Right, but at the same time, like not to say your DAP is colored, or maybe Anthony's DAP is a little bit colored, but not that he gets to test things out in the real world. For you, you kind of run into the problem of, say you want to upgrade, right? Let's say you're tired of your SH3, you're tired of your MG5 or whatever. You want to get something new. You kind of run into the problem if you don't have a neutral DAP. You kind of run into the problem that the IEM that you are testing maybe isn't really bad. It's just a bad pairing for your DAP. And I'm saying that a neutral DAP run into a lot less of those kind of problems.
Well,
right?
For me, I wouldn't say that like a bad pairing, like for me, the definition of a bad pairing would be something that is more of got to do with the output impedance, causing problems with the frequency response rather than just like deviations in sound due to the amplifier stage.
Andromeda.
Yeah. So
I
it's
agree.
like running the XLR out on my cube onto an Andromeda, right? So, yeah, okay. So let's say you have a high output impedance source, maybe like a LPG, like the old one, and you play it on an Andromeda. It sounds like ass, but you know, maybe it's not the Andromeda's fault. You know, maybe it's their DAP, and you
Well,
kind of run.
I don't think LPG is high output impedance. I measured it with a few things. It seems pretty normal, but the way that it's designed, the amplifier stage, it just doesn't work well with certain transducers. It's weird, you know. But of course, like there are certain like what Con say, that there are certain sources that are very high output impedance that would definitely mess around with multi-BA setups that do not have flat impedance curve and it's low impedance to start with. Yeah, but it's both sides of the coin. It's not just only output impedance.
Okay. And I have a high output impedance source that I just found out recently, which I'm not too happy, but which I don't care, or not too happy. I don't know. But doesn't it kind of have like a you like if you have something that's super color, let's say you have an AK SP1K, which is like super colored, and I don't think anybody can disagree. It does it not limit the choice of the IEMs that you have, like that you can upgrade to?
Yeah, but the mega fans of the AK do not think that it's colored.
And they're just wrong. They're just like, no, I have an AK, first of all.
yeah, to them the AK is neutral, so everything else is colored.
Can I give an example of that?
Yeah.
So
please.
when I owned a Solaris, way back when,
Way back
it's a warmer. I mean, for me, it's a warmer type sound. And when I originally bought it, I had the Pioneer XDP 300R, which is pretty similar to the Grand Beat that Ken has, which is at least the Pioneer version. It's kind of a neutral bright signature to me, and it actually sounded really nice with kind of that warmer Solaris sound. But then I upgraded, or at least I bought on the side the AEK SR15 because I wanted something smaller. I mean, the Pioneers were pretty big brick, and the SR15 is like this tiny little thing. So I bought that instead, and I kind of blind bought it. Didn't realize it was super warm, and it made the Solaris actually not very listenable to me in some ways because it became really muddy and bloated to me, and I didn't really enjoy it with that DAP. So I ended up kind of using both, even though I was planning on just selling one of them. So I kept both of them for a while.
Right, and obviously, I mean, the Solaris is always muddy and bloated. Like, doesn't matter what source you use. But I mean, like changing over from a more neutral DAP into something that's more color, maybe like the AK SR15. Like it's kind of like overwhelming to have a sound signature, I guess. And I guess that's why that's why I'm a big preacher on just just get a neutral DAP. Like. And did you when did you get the 160, Anthony?
I got it right when it came
was
out.
that? Oh, okay. So that was after the SR15.
Yeah, it was a couple months after. They had some delays, I think, getting it out in America, but I got it. I want to say last September, maybe.
Huh. So did you still have your Solaris when you got the 160?
No, I
or
don't
have you
think
sold
so.
that?
I sold it already.
Okay, you sold it already. Okay, so you never tried that combo. I think that probably be all right with it. But
I might have at a meet. I might have at a meet.
Yeah, but but you obviously you're the personal. You have ran into that problem because you're being in the States. You have this source pairing issue, and unfortunately, but most likely it's just your Solaris's problem as always.
The Solaris is also affected by output impedance too. Not as much as
right,
the Andromeda, but
yeah.
It does measure differently with different sources.
And on the pairing thing, I think, maybe like we'll go into this later in part 2. Uh, any objection on just like get a neutral source and find a IEM that you like, or find an IEM that you like first, and then buy a neutral source.
Yeah, I am for getting your transducers that you like
Thank you.
at least a good 80%, and like, hey, you're missing a little bit, like you can't find anything else that's better than this, but you're missing a little bit. Yeah, sure, go ahead and find the best matching you have source for it. If not, hey, if it works well with neutral source, you can just get a better neutral source.
Right.
And yeah, then it boils down to whether you are transducers first approach person or source approach person, which we'll talk about later.
That's a topic for later maybe. But what I like to talk about next is just on the Chi-Fi thing. We see a lot of Chi-Fi dApps like recently, and Korn has a Chi-Fi dApp, but not the Chi-Fi dApps I like to talk about. How about this? I talk about the big three. The $1,000 Chi-Fi dApp, right? DX220, around $1,000. The LPG 6000, LP6000 from Loto, and the N62. The big three, right?
Kayan.
The $1,000, the Kayan, yeah. Okay. Obviously, Anthony has heard the Kayan.
I've heard all of them, I think.
Have you?
Oh, actually,
Wow.
no, I haven't heard the Low. I don't think I've heard the Low.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of the Loto 6Ks because that's like the new one, right?
Yeah.
The Chi-Fi they're always $1,000 now, so like you're getting into like the high end territory, and I feel like maybe just your thought, maybe like I feel like it's a very competitive market right now in the Chi-Fi market. Because back in the day, for $1,000 source, you have the WM1A, which I had. You have the DX200, which is a predecessor to the DX220, which I also have. I had. And Ken actually in the market. You were telling me that you were thinking about the DX200, right? So you're in the market for a dApp. You're thinking about it. So what is your thought process on maybe how to pick a dApp, or maybe like what are your thoughts on maybe the 3 dApps that I just put out there?
Things that is, of course, if I'm testing stuff, it has to be things that work well with a lot of stuff. Like you said, a neutral dApp that does not, and in Con's perspective, is not to have high output impedance. So when I tried the DX220 with my own transducers and a lot of other transducers, it works really well. So that's why I was looking at it, and in my opinion, when I tried the N62 with multiple different modules, I've tried, and I tried LP
6000
and a DX220 with all the different M modules as well. The DX220 seems the most neutral.
It is the most neutral.
The N62 can be the most colored and the most wonky.
You only have it if you're a boomer.
Depending on the modules, some modules are actually neutral-ish.
No, not really. No.
The ESS ones are neutral-ish, neutral bright in certain cases. The LP is just it's just Loto sound signature. It's a little warm, a little so depends on what you pair with, right? And in terms of sound quality, I personally think that N62 is too expensive for what it is. In fact, the 220 is like bargain. It's cheaper than all of them. You can still get another M module, and it's still cheaper than any of them, by itself.
Yeah.
At least in Singapore. The LP6000, it has a very good reason to be there. It has its own niche sound signature. Well, for the folks who like Loto sound signature, and for Loto, I think right now at least I like the 6000 the most. I actually like it more than the Touch.
Huh, really?
Yeah, and N62, I guess the ESS is the one I like most, but like there's a lot of money to be spending on that, which I can easily achieve with a DX220, and I can even have spare money to buy the amp module, but which I don't need to. But of course, if someone loves the warm sound of Cayenne, then yeah, I guess N62 works. It has its market. Yeah, but I am for the market. I'm for the opinion of neutral-ish source, and then color it with transducers. I like colored sound, but I prefer to color it with transducers instead.
And I think you agree with me on this, just in terms of like neutrality. I think you have the 220 as the most neutral, and you have the LP6K, and then you have the most neutral as the N62. And also in terms of the best with the best technicalities, I think you also have 220 as the best technicality, because of the neutral, maybe because of whatever, I think that's also the have the best technicality. And then you have the LP6K, and then maybe the least technical, maybe depends on what module you use. I think it would just be the N62 again, right?
Pretty much, but yeah, it really depends on what you pair it. But as in, like, the easiest pairing is a 220. You throw it anything, it'll be anything. Like if anything sounds bad on the 220, it's probably the transistors.
Right, because if you have a neutral DAP, it's most likely that, your DAP's pretty transparent. It's probably your transducer's fault. That if you don't like the sound signature, it's probably almost never the DAP's fault, right? And
yeah,
well, I mean, I'm going to Korn, and you have tried those all three. Do you have your picking on a Chai 5 kilobucks DAPs?
Oh man, I would go with the LP6K solely because of the firmware. As in the user experience of the LP6K is pretty darn good. Like, I think it boots up in around 2 seconds, and yeah, it's really just fast free. Like, there's zero bloat, zero lagging. It's just very straight to the point, and it's very honest as a product.
Wait, hang on. Are we talking about sound quality here, or talking about functionality? Because functionality.
Well, I mean, you have a DAP. And...
Well, for me, I tend to always go for more of the functionality standpoint first. But in terms of sound, I would put the 220 at the forefront, but it's not to say that I don't like the 220. It's just that in terms of functionality, again, it's very important to me. It is of like equal importance of like functionality and sound. They both have equal importance. So ultimately, I'll still pick the LP6K, even though it doesn't sound as good as the 220.
And I think everybody can agree that the iBasso UI is cancer, right? Like, that thing is slow as fuck.
It's buggy, laggy.
The battery life. So if you talk about functionality, and I have to pick one so that I will actually last a full day, I will only pick the LP6000.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like, again, like, I have the 200, and I have it with the MP8 for the longest time. 5 hours. That's all I get. 5 hours. If I'm doing international flight, I have to charge my DAP 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm flying back to China, I'm charging that 3 times.
Yeah, iBassos are just terrible at UI
atrocious
and battery optimization.
Yeah.
You have to actually
great.
mod it by installing a custom firmware and then doing a ton of tweaks if you know what you're actually doing with Android to get it to get more than like 8 hours of battery life. And that's not even that much.
I can see the battery percentage drop as I listen to one song.
Yeah.
You see, this is why I'm just getting into the point why AK Concube is the best app ever. That's the whole podcast is about.
You also forgot the new FIO M15 as like the kilobuck Chinese.
No, I don't even want to mention that garbage.
It's a bit more expensive though.
Yeah,
it's very expensive than the 3, right?
Yeah, I think it's like $14.99.
But you know what? The model they're competing is the M11 Pro. That's $1,000, right?
Yes, but the M11 Pro isn't good. The M15 is good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like the M15 is also expensive. That's what I'm saying. Kilobucks, not two. Kilobucks is kilobucks. Like, again, maybe $1,000, not $2,000.
Okay. I will take M11 Pro over N62.
Fine, maybe. I don't like Fio. Okay, this is obviously not sponsored by Fio.
Well, it depends on the M module, because I don't like the base M module for the N62.
Well, I mean, again, Anthony can chime in on this, and shout out to Tyler because he loves this N60. Again, I'm pretty sure he's a boomer. Only boomers loves N62. Okay, that DAP, and again, I don't know why I waste my time with the N62, because every time I'm in Japan, I have to try it because people are like, well, have you tried it with this? I'm like, no. You're picking between how warm you want your DAP to be versus how bad the sound quality it is. The first module sounds warm as fuck, and it sounds lo-fi as fuck. And the second module sounds even more lo-fi, but less warm. Again, I haven't tried the ESS one. Apparently, they're better.
A lot better.
Yeah.
But dude, it's 1.2K for the DAP by itself, and plus $250 for each module. So how many modules does it have now? 5. So if you want to have a DAP, right, it comes with a module, and then you have to buy 4 other modules. The DAP is almost close to $2,500.
Yeah.
For your standalone DAP and all the mumbo jumbo that comes with it.
Which is why I'm not picking it, right? But
I mean, nobody is like that. Nobody in the right
credit
mind.
when it's due. It does have special pairing, like certain transducers that will be completely garbage on a lot of source simply work well with the N62.
It's true.
But you know what? You do the same thing. Like, as you said, a lot of the DACs, they don't really change the sound signature. It's the amplifier stage that does it.
Yeah, it is.
Guess what? You can change the amplifier with your DX220.
Correct.
It's the same thing. And
But
you know what?
have to deal
Their
with
modules are... You know what?
The UI on the KNN62 is significantly better than the DX220. Like, it's night and day difference.
Fine.
I have to agree.
Fine. Yes. I can't fault you for that.
It's like,
That's why I don't have
this is a closed system. It's an amp, it's a DAC, and it's your user interface all in one. So it's all those have to matter.
iBuckle's UI functionality, usability is cancer. Its sound quality is awesome.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I had the 220. That was my first app. None of that
200
mid-fi
you
shit.
need.
Yeah, DX200. And you know what? For me personally, to judge, I always had, for the most of my part, me going through so many portable source, I always had 2 at the same time, because I always have to make the decision which one I want to let go. So first I had a DX200. I bought an 1A, and I had both of them for about like 3 or 4 months. I decided to sell my 200, and after that I only had my 1A, and I bought my Con Cube, and I had those 2 DAPs for about 2 or 3 months, and I decided to sell my 1A, and now I only have my Con Cube. So whenever, I don't know when I'm gonna get my DMP-Z1, but I don't know what's next in line. But I think if I were to buy a next DAP, I would just keep both, like for a long period of time, and then decide if I want to move on or whatever.
I think you should do a DMPC1 versus the Shanling when it comes out.
Oof, I don't think I want to drop that much money on a portable.
No, you don't want to drop that money on a G5 portable.
Yes, exactly. I again, I had 3 different DAPs for 3 different countries, so I'm not a racist. My waifu is Japanese. But no, I feel like, and again, I think we all agree on the fact that nobody should spend too much money on a DAP, and I have this some kind of like, again, Anthony cut it out at like $700 with his mid-fi Sony, and everybody spend a reasonable amount of money. On the next topic is that you're seeing a lot of these very expensive, this top of the line Chi-Fi were maybe just $3,000 DAPs. I don't know how many you have tested, Anthony. I haven't tested the SP2K yet, but like now let's see what's on the market right now, and it has people gone crazy with this like portable source gear price creeping, because you have to
any AK.
Well, okay, no, I want to say my AK is reasonable. My baby is reasonable. But no.
You're talking about 2K
No,
above? I'll start
like
a list on this thing here.
people
Okay.
get crazy over AK stuff, like in general.
No, but not even AK. They're not even the biggest offender. Dude,
Am I
The
missing
NA
anything?
the K in NA, Chi-Fi, $3,000. The Lotopod Go Touch, Chi-Fi, $3,000. The new iBasto 220 Max, about
yeah.
$2.8 thousand brick. Okay, that's all three of them are Chi-Fi right now. Okay, now you get to the AK, SP1K, SP2K, $3,000. The M15, not as expensive, 1.5. Okay, what else you want to name?
I put the Sony WM1Z.
Sony WM1Z, $3,000. So
There's a few like some random brands I never heard of before, like
the
luxury and
the luxury and precision, yep, luxury and precision LP6, $3.8 thousand. The luxury precision LP6 Ti, $5,000.
Yes,
Again, I haven't heard of Ti. That's ridiculous. That's like big money. That's like complete setup money. Like you can get
That
a
is
complete...
DMP Z1 money, man.
Okay, the DMP Z1, $8,000. Okay, again, that's not portable anymore.
Or not, but yeah, sure.
It's advertised as transportable. That was official advertisement.
And you know what? If I'm buying a Z1, I don't mind carrying it around with me.
You don't mind carrying anything as long as you can lug it around.
Oh, as long as there's a van nut for it, then I'll fucking carry it around. Okay, so going to Anthony first. Have we gone crazy with the DAP prices? Like, is that too much? Like $3,000 DAPs? I mean, I know you probably would buy one, but
I wouldn't ever buy one. I mean, there's a couple reasons why I like you mentioned, I limited down to just the Sony. Part of it has to do with portability and size, and I want something that I can easily carry in my hand. And the
but you haven't tried a Lotopod Go Touch. That's smaller than your.
But also has streaming capability.
You know what? Whatever. No.
Yeah,
that's something that you have.
Streaming is small, it's fine, man.
Yeah. So I guess we talked about this in that one-on-one we had with me last week, but I think there's a couple of things going on here. There's supply and demand. This is a super niche market, so you can charge more for something that you're not going to sell very much of. A lot of these, I've tried a few of these, not all of them. They all, I mean, especially the DMP Z1, they are like very well built. I've tried like the N8. That thing is literally heavier than a brick, and it's beautiful looking. I mean, you're paying a lot for aesthetics and the actual like housing of the DAP, which I think if you read some of the older like hi-fi like speaker amps and stuff like that, there was a time period where amplifiers were kind of built kind of very similarly, and then like in the 80s and 90s they started making these luxury looking amps, but they're pretty much just internally they're not a whole lot different, but you're paying a lot for like the design and the case. And I feel like in some of these situations you're paying for the aesthetic build quality, not necessarily the internals, even though the internals may have some upgrades. But is it worth $1,500 difference? I don't know.
some inside story, right? If you have access to Sony parts, the WM1A and WM1Z PCB difference is no more than $100.
Yeah, but the
case
right.
is the chassis, because that's where the shielding is. Or
I mean, I would argue that the WM1A is the true portable flagship for Sony, because that's their sound.
Right.
Because the TAZ1EH, TAZH1ES sounds like a WM1A, and the DMP-Z1 sounds like a WM1A. So the 1Z is honestly the odd child out.
It is
the odd portable thing out. Like
it's the luxury version of it, right?
It's a luxury version.
But it doesn't sound. They sound nothing alike. That's the fun part. They sound nothing alike. but 1Z is the R1 out. And Ken, I mean, obviously, I mean, what's your thought on the $3,000 plus dApps, man? Like, do you think, like, again, like Anthony says, just like, maybe they just build quality that's better. Do you think they sound better?
I think it's pairing. I do believe in pairing a lot.
Oh, no, maybe not pairing, like in general.
Oh, in general, like, I mean, if the approach is you have not bought any good transducers, then buying the $3,000 sauce is ridiculous because.
Well, let's say you're rich. Let's say you got like fuck you money. Like you don't care about money. Like are they that much better? You just care about performance. Are they even are they better than the $1,000 dApps? I mean, the $1,000 dApps are really good. I mean, like 1A and.
It is still pairing though because like there are certain IEMs that it's a little better. It's not much better, but there are some IEMs like wow, it's quite a bit better there, So like, but typically most transducers will pretty max out with a WM1A DX 220 kind of source. Most transducers, 90% or even 99% of the transducers out there in the market. The last 1% are the very peculiar ones, or they have oddball requirements, or they're built designed to pair with certain sources. Yeah, I don't think because all the expensive amps, they are not neutral. They are colored. They have odd things about it. DMP Z1 is not low output impedance. Apparently, it's not very high, but it's not that low either. So there are things that are tuned for it, like the Elysian annihilator, which I went to KL and I tried that setup. That is a big difference between that and any other source. But other than that, most transducers, I don't see a point. And the SP2000, the AK stuff, they're colored. So if you're gonna buy the source first, you're not. It's gonna be harder for you to find transducers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And going to Corn, are we gonna see you upgrading soon to get a DX to get your LP6 6K?
Probably not. Because I mean, I still do value a very small size step, so it's really difficult to upgrade in some sense because everything that's new that's coming out is always so big, and
the LP6K is not that big. It's not that big.
It's still a little too big for me. Like I have small hands. That is I admit it, but yeah, size do make a factor. Size is a very important factor for me. Because I don't want to put it in my back pocket or my front pocket. So if you can't even go into my front pocket, then it sucks, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let me preach something to you guys.
Good battery life, right? So it's heavy for a reason. It's big for a reason. It's good battery life.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me preach something to you guys. You guys, everybody wears a belt when they're going out. Yeah, I'm not gonna speculate on your wardrobe and whatever. Okay.
Yes, I match my belt with my shoes. Yes.
Stupid.
Me too.
That's also stupid. Okay. I know you guys don't like. Again, like this is why I say that I have a man purse. I have a man purse for my cube. I think most of you seen it, which is I'm very proud of it. There's this great company out of Japan. They call it Van Nuys. Okay, they make DAP pouches with belt clips to them. And I'm gonna say like not, I don't think anybody can pull it off. I don't think you just have to not care how you just have to live with that thing on your belt. Isn't that like Corn? Yeah. Are you
so it's like
to
so it's like a fanny pack.
yeah. No. I'm not even gonna color up. It's a fucking fanny pack for my dad. Like I'm not gonna lie. Dude, have you not seen the picture? Dude,
No, I have. I'm
like...
gonna post it on this.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with.
Show you my picture of it. How about that?
I always have a bag with me. My sauce can be big if it's good, But like that. But for me, there's no point for it to be 10 kg because I carry other stuff when I go out too. So I don't want to carry a 10 kg setup around. Right? But
Yeah.
if it's a little bit bigger, I am fine with it. If it's a little bit bricky, I'm okay, But when it exceeds a certain point, that is hard to handle, that becomes a problem. Like Z1, that is too big for me.
Dude, like, see, that's me. Like, okay, look at that picture.
Cube is probably the biggest I will go. Cube, no. DX220 Max is probably the biggest I'll go.
I don't know how big that thing is. I think it's heavier than the Cube, but it's about the same size. But I do carry that. That's how I carry my stuff, and I do get funny looks when I go to the airport. Which is probably not the best.
They will think, why do you have wires coming out of a taser, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever that is, right? I mean, it's not. I think it's something that you have to, like, and that's me again. Like with the case, with the belt clip, it's honestly pretty easy to carry, and you just have to live with like one side of your pants will be a pound heavier than the other side, which is if you have a nylon belt on, don't ever wear that with a leather belt because that will ruin your leather belt. But again, I don't wear a leather belt that much anymore. If you have a nylon belt, you can carry the dab on you, but like it will literally stretch your leather belt. Like it's not even funny. It's a pretty big chunk.
You can carry 2 DAPs and balance them on left and right.
Oh, there you go. That's and you know what? I have done that before when I had my 1A to test 2 dabs. I had them like one on each side. It was pretty funny. It was a pretty good look. When I was in Japan.
Dual instead of dual wielding pistols, you have dual wielding.
That's right. Dual wheel dabs. Yeah. I mean, like it doesn't have to fit in your like. Again, I don't think anybody's willing to do that. I haven't seen anybody else outside of Japan carrying their dabs that way, but it's a very good portable setup. Because first of all, it's not in your pocket, and you will never like get it scratched up, and you just know exactly where it is. I think you'll never lose your dab.
I don't put stuff in my pocket. Everything is in my bag, including my phone. So I'm happy to put.
Yeah, but how many pockets do you have?
Sorry.
How many pockets do you have? Like you got your keys and your wallets and your phone and all that stuff.
Everything is in my bag. I don't put anything in my.
Yeah, but then you're just like, what was that? Like, what? I have a fanny pack and you have a fucking man purse. What's the difference, man?
No, it's like I have no problem. I'm trying to say I have no problem carrying a bigger DAP.
But Corn doesn't want to have a man like an EDC thing, right?
Nah,
everything goes
no
in
thanks.
your pocket, Corn? Everything goes in your pocket.
I do have a bag, but in terms of when I'm walking around, connected to some music device, it tends to be my pocket. So I just walk around with my hands, using my phone or something.
Yeah, but I'm trying to convince you with this belt thing, man. It's really just
it's not gonna work, man.
Come on, man.
Nah. Do you go biking with this?
Anthony, Van Nuts, yeah.
Do you go biking with that?
Con cares too much about his appearance to do it.
Yeah, he's very.
I think it's a look. I think it's a look that you can pull off, man. It's not even boomer. It's a dap, and people you get that. You get.
Well,
that
to be
secret...
honest, Con can pull this off. I can see him pulling this off really well. To be honest,
yeah,
it's like wearing cargo shorts, dude.
It kind of reminds me of like the early days in a cell phone when people wore their flip phones on their belt clips.
Yeah. Like you see those dads, like they still have it, dude. They still have it.
Yeah, but so do half of the audiophiles users who are using this in Singapore, they're wearing like shorts, cargo pants, and Bermudas, and wearing slippers and sandals, and they're using this. So, Con, you can pull this off.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah, nah.
I expect this on your Instagram soon.
Yeah, there you
shit.
go.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys have a fanny pack or something.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much a fanny pack. I mean, like it just clips onto your belt. It's kind of like one of those foam things that Anthony talked about. I mean, Anthony, I can see you carrying that. You're a little bit older, you can pull that off. Aren't you? Aren't you at the point that you can have things on your belt now?
No, I mean, no, I've never. Yeah. Sorry.
He's a man of class.
Whoa! That's some low blow there, yo.
Hey, you know what? When I go to Singapore, like, dude, you'll see that look. It's It works, man. It works. I'm telling you.
No,
Oh yeah, I'll see that look next to
Raj,
your
I can
IA t-shirt, huh?
I can imagine it looks good on you, Raj.
I don't. I think I just at the point that I just don't care anymore. Like the usability of it is just so much more. Again, like I am past the point where that thing does not fit in my pocket. Okay, no pants. No, it's. I am not excited to see you. That's a con cube in my pocket. That's
Yeah,
pretty
like
much.
yeah, I still rather see you using that van noise case rather than trying to stuff a con cube down your pocket. So I mean, it makes sense if you do use a con cube.
Do you
I,
do you
but I
prefer that over like carrying a small messenger bag and putting in the bag?
guess what? I also have a small messenger bag, and you know what that fit in? I have my Van Nui two times two x two case with all my IEMs in there.
You carry
Yep.
all your you carry all your
And
items
the
over there.
accessories that come with it, right?
Yeah,
the
I have all. This is why I said it works. Like, it. I have all of my Portify that's with me when I go to Japan or when I travel. I have three. Depends on when you see me. I'll have 2 or 3 IEMs. All the tips that's in me, that goes into a case. My Van Nui case that goes into my messenger bag. The DAP goes into on my belt, and sometimes I'll be listening to IEM. So, at a time, I can probably have 4 IEMs with its accessory and 2 DAPs on me. Depends on how when you see me out and about.
I feel like
when I'm traveling.
I feel like I could put my 507 and like 3 IEMs and accessories into that one case that you have under.
Yes, but like I like to. I also have 2 case for my one DAP. I have the 8K case, the leather case, and then I have the Van Nui leather case on top of that. I like to protect my things. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm doing, like, again, I know, like, most of you guys don't travel, and I do. I used to travel before this corona thing. I used to travel a lot for work, so that's why I have such a system to the madness, I guess. And dude, the Van Nui thing, it works, man. I'm just trying to say, everybody should. If you're a serious Portify audiophile, think about that belt clip.
Trying to get that sponsorship again.
Well, that's if they don't carry a bag with them all the time. I have a bag with me all the time.
Dude, I have a bag too, but I have a belt clip. It's ease of access. You see.
True. It's ease of access. That is.
You know what? I think Tyler will be all over that shit, man. Purple Man will love that. Man, he's a dad. He's a dad, and he'll understand. He's at that. He's at the fanny pack stage. I think I can convince him to get a fanny pack for his N6 too.
Yeah, but to be honest, if it's too heavy a player, then it's gonna be inconvenient to be on the belt. But if it's a lighter player, I don't think that's too much.
Oh, you don't feel it. If I have my 1A, I don't feel it. But on a con cube, I know it's on my belt.
Yeah, con cube is a big.
And going. I think this rant's going on long enough. And do you guys care about the? I obviously Korn cares about the form factor, but think about it. Like, you have a bag, right? So do you really care about the form factor? Like, would you guys really not consider having a con cube, even you just most of the time? Like, how often do you walk around with your DAP in your pocket?
I think for me, this is just my personal thing. When most of I don't walk around with my DAP typically. Like I mentioned, I use Galaxy Buds, but for walking around to like work, at my previous job, I had to walk like I had to park my car and then walk almost a mile to my office, and also I had to carry a lot of stuff to work. So my laptop, notebook, and some other stuff. And I tried to minimize how much stuff I carried in my bag, and I was carrying like a messenger bag, so there's not a lot of space. So it does matter in that point of view. More recently, I've switched. I don't have a long walk anymore to work with my new job, but I've also started wearing a really big backpack. So at this point, it probably doesn't matter as much to me. But when I do wear a messenger bag, there is a limited amount of space.
Korn, like is it like does it have to be pocketable? I mean, like
Yeah, for me, yeah. Like I mean, I do walk around when I'm commuting, so the dab goes into my back pocket, and my hands are occupied with holding my phone. So yeah, I mean, even while I have a bag, it is a bit inconvenient to let's say if I want to change my music or track. But if I'm listening to an album, sure, why not? But I'll prefer put it in my back pocket where I can just take it out and switch a track and then put it back into my pocket or something.
It can be on your belt. Ooh, look at that. In
Ah.
front. Wow. So
Yeah.
much more. Also, you don't crush your dap when you sit down. Wow.
You'll crush your
Nah.
thighs though.
Like, I feel like I'll get
Ken.
pretty irritated with the depth like on my hip or something. Like I'll feel the weight, you know.
You're gonna try when I go to Singapore. You're gonna walk around with that whole
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
You're gonna
I
carry
have
my
to try
cube
it.
yeah, you're gonna carry my cube for me for an entire day. I think that should be the challenge. And Ken obviously not a dad. But you're at the age, you know. See yourself with a fanny pack. Like it's like again like 220 is fits in your pocket, right? But does the form factor like break the deal? If you try the Concube with the, if you like it enough, would you consider getting it? And you told me before you have.
Yeah, I think like getting a Cube size is big, but well, I still can do it. But like a DMP Z1, no, like it's gonna be a pain to operate that and put it in my bag. It can fit into my bag, but no, it's just too hard to mess around. Cube, and maybe I have not held. I mean, I have not seen the DX220 Max yet, but as of now, I guess Cube is the biggest that I would go. If it's good, if I like it enough, it's doable. It's heavy, but it's not insane. I mean, when I'm out for audio meets, I have my iPad Pro, I have my accessories, I have my IEC mic, I have a whole bunch of stuff as well.
Yeah. So like, what's another dap like do like
Yeah. So this is okay. This is okay. If it's like I said, Z1, no, it's too much. This size, I'm okay. This can fit into my bag, into my bag organizer, my compartments. I can make one compartment for it. It's not a problem. It's fine. I'm okay with this size. So that but I don't like weight on my
no.
on my weight. Like, which is the whole point. I don't even put stuff in my pocket. Like, well, of course, if it's like I'm ordering some food, I'm holding the play on my phone, I will put it at my back pocket for just that short while. If it's just that immediate 30 seconds to 1 minute, but 90% of the time, everything is in my bag.
You're not about the fanny pack look.
No, it's not a look. I don't like the weight weighing down, which is why I don't have anything in my pants pocket. I only put things in my pocket like when I wear a suit, in a blazer.
Oh no! Nobody wears a suit and have a Cube on your fucking belt. No, like that. No, like as I said, if you wear a leather belt, if you're at an occasion that you have to wear a leather belt, don't put that on your belt because that's ridiculous.
The Cube will fit in your blazer.
90% of my belts are leather.
That's why most of my belts are nylon. Well, I mean, most of the belt that I wear when I'm not working, they're nylon.
In fact, I only have one non-leather belt. The rest are all.
Gotta preach that tactical look, that weeaboo tactical look.
Yeah, you gotta switch your wardrobe to match your DAP. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, depends on how much you like your leather belt. I think it doesn't really matter when I have my 1A, but I can feel it like stretching my belt if I'm wearing like, again, like you're not gonna see me having my Cube and my $100, $200 leather belt. Because that shit will ruin it. Like I do like no. Like and also I don't want to wear suit pants with that 1 pound of things sagging on. It's you have to have like a nylon, like a heavy duty nylon belt for it to not sag, which is kind of like the most. But like the weird, I know it's weird, but I don't think I can get that through you guys.
But for me, it's not about the belt. It's like because I don't even like to have things in my pocket because it's heavy.
I'm telling you, dude, if you have a 220, you don't feel it. Like it's a quarter of like it's not even that heavy. Like most apps, they're not that heavy.
Okay, I
If
don't
you will
even
never
I don't even like a phone in my pocket, which is why this is
just
my
say it, just say you don't like that fanny pack look. Just say it. You know.
Okay, fine.
There you go. I'm sorry. You just don't get it. But I think that's it for like, I mean, I don't know if anybody else want to say something about the part one. Just this, just our rant on dApps and what we thought about it. Maybe part two will do the recommendation for part two.
And more in depth technical stuff.
Yeah, but this is more a rant. Anything you want to say for the last word, Anthony, or no?
No, I'm not a fan of fanny packs.
You know what? Fuck you, man. Cut it.